to give.
Well, Sheriff Tom Spangler is speaking now, the decided winner in the primary election. Let's take a listen as he addresses a crowd.
Volunteers, people who volunteered to want to help and believe in what we were doing. And to you all, the biggest thank you I could ever give you, and say thank you for each and every one of you. Thank you. And I think you can tell it's very emotional for me. And again, you know, I've got two other special people here, and I'm going to make this as quickly as I can. But I got Jerry Miles and Patty Glenn that are sitting down here, my neighbors. Talk about taking care of somebody while all my campaign was going on. Closing my garage door at night, calling me and telling me, your garage door's open. Yeah, I know, Jerry. Okay, thank you. But without them, I couldn't have done it. And I want to say thank you to both of you. Thank you. To the citizens of Knox County who've once again put me in this office, I'm honored. I am honored. I'm humbled. And I won't let you down. I made one promise during the last campaign, and I said that I would do the right thing. And that's what we're going to continue doing, and I look forward to doing that. This campaign was tough, but God got us through it. And it prevailed. Prepare the way to victory. I want to give him all the glory. So for that, thank you all for coming out tonight. I'm honored, I'm humbled to be your Knox County Sheriff. Thank you.
And that is Sheriff Tom Spangler basically accepting a win on this primary election night. J.J. Jones, the previous sheriff, had been running against him, and at this point, nobody else running. So come August, it will likely be, and let's take you off our shot there as our reporters continue to try to get some more information as they're out there and trying to get an interview with Sheriff Spangler. There will likely be no candidate facing them in the general election. So unless there's some sort of write-in and somebody comes in and kind of sweeps everyone off their feet there, it looks like Sheriff Tom Spangler will continue for another term. Of course, none of this becomes official until August, so we'll continue to watch that as we move through this election cycle. If you're just joining us, a heads up that our WVLT News app has all the election results, so if you're not particularly interested in Knox County, but maybe a different county within the East Tennessee region, we are following those results for you live. We have a couple races that we are watching, and I'm just going to pop over and get some of our latest results in for you. Give me just one. We're having setting up a live interview with Sheriff Tom Spangler here in just a moment. So our crews behind the scenes here are getting that worked out for us. But we do want to take a look at some of the other interesting races that are underway across East Tennessee on primary election night. Cott County is one of the counties that we're watching, and I should pop off of this because this is not the right graphic for you, so give me just a second while I get my ducks in a row here. Cott County Sheriff is one of the races that we're watching this evening. Current Sheriff, Sheriff Armando Fontes, is one of... Gotcha, okay. Current Sheriff Armando Fontes is obviously running again, but we've been following some of the issues that have been plaguing this office within the last year or two. Most recently, the sheriff was investigated by the Tennessee Comptroller's Office regarding a second job that he holds within the White Pine Police Department. That started in April, that investigation did, and it revealed that the sheriff drove a county car while at the second job, which of course is not necessarily allowed. And then in January of last year, a $15 million lawsuit was filed against the sheriff's office on claims of unsafe jail conditions. And also the Cotton County Corrections Officer, a Cotton County Corrections Officer under Sheriff Fontes was terminated after assaulting a female inmate, knocking out that inmate's tooth. That was in February of 2022. So that's one of the situations that we're following as that evolves on election night here. Just trying to see what else we can share with you. Let's take a peek as we ask some more questions of Sheriff Tom Spangler, who is announcing his presumptive win tonight.
And you guys.
I was going to say, I'm going to move this wide
Jesse, do you need to
so Elizabeth can get in further. Excuse me.
You're okay to move it.
Is that good?
Do you need me to hold it?
Put it behind me right here. Okay. Here, hold on. Sorry. No, you're good. We're going to move this behind. Yeah, have you want to do it. Watch out, Elizabeth. Watch your step. I want to stay in place. Put it like right here. I'm not rolling yet. Everybody ready and rolling? Mic check, 1, 2, 3, mic check.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Awesome, everybody ready? Sheriff Spangler, how you feeling?
Feel like I've got the weight lifted off my shoulders. It's been a long campaign.
When we talked Thursday, you said you were tired. Where are you at right now?
Exhausted, literally. Yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm not sure how my feelings are right now, but again, I'm so thankful to not only to the voters of Knox County, but I'm thankful for the people who are involved in my campaign to help me get through this. So I'm very thankful.
Emotional up there. What were the emotions going through? I see you to fight back tears at one stage.
Well,
at one point.
you know, when you've got that many people who say they believe in you, and if you're not humbled by it, something's wrong. And that's the way I look at it. You know, my wife here has stood beside me the whole time during this, and it's not been easy on her because I've not been easy on her. And she's weathered through it, and I'm grateful for that.
When we talked, you said you have plans to get more pay for employees of the department. When does that work start? I mean, you still have to get past August, but right now the road to that seems pretty easy, but when does the work start from here on out?
Now. It does. It starts now. I mean, we've got to start working on it tonight and get back at it first thing in the morning. You know, our job didn't stop just because we were going through an election. We still have some work to do, and I plan on doing it.
Sheriff, you've known JJ for years, decades.
Yeah.
Hard race. Talk just a little bit about that, and if you've called you yet, or if you've had any conversations with them.
As of right now, I've not heard from him. No.
And just comment too on the repudiation of really what you've been doing, what he said he wanted to do. It's not even close. Can you talk a little bit about that?
No, and I think the voters either listened or at least that's what I think. They listened to what both of us had to say. And, you know, I think people are tired of hearing mudslinging going on. And we wanted to make sure we took on the high road, and that's what we did. And I'll continue to do so.
Sheriff, what will be your top 3 priorities going into the next term?
One of them we just talked about. Obviously, just starting tonight, again, working on salaries. But we got to retain our officers, and we got to be able to recruit. It's that important to make sure that we do that. We're not the only ones that are hurting there. Here locally, KPD, our surrounding agencies are there. This country is in the same position that we're in. So, excuse me, I've heard a commissioner tell me, we don't want to get into bidding war. I'm sorry, we're in a bidding war right now, and that's where we're at. And we've got to be able to recruit qualified individuals, and that's what we want to go do. Obviously, we want to make sure that we continue working on our crime statistics, making sure that our officers out there in the subdivisions, checking our businesses. You know, those are two of the top things that I want to make sure that we're doing.
Are you going to focus on building that relationship even further, like the Lonsdale communities in those areas?
Oh yeah, and you know, and I met with the new chief last week. We sat down for about 20 minutes, and as I told him, we're here for you. Whatever you need, whether it's in one area or another, we're going to be there to help you, and all you got to do is reach out. You know, and obviously he was very kind with that, and I told him he started off right. He did have on an orange tie, And but that was part of the things I couldn't understand from him with that accent. But no, he seems to be a great guy, and I look forward to working with him.
Everybody good? Elizabeth, you good?
Just any message that you have to the voters?
Oh, I can't be thankful enough to the voters. You know, they're giving me 4 more years to run the Knox County Sheriff's Office, and it's a true honor for me. And I certainly don't take that lightly. And for me to be as humbled as I am about that, I want to make sure that the voters understand how much I appreciate their confidence in me, and I'm going to make sure that we carry that through.
Everybody good? Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, y'all.
All right, the Republican Party claiming that, or calling the Knox County Sheriff's race for Sheriff Tom Spangler. So he will continue on in another term, barring any sort of write-in candidate situation that sweeps him off of his feet come August in the general election. Former Sheriff J.J. Jones, who served in a previous term, was hoping to make a comeback. Doesn't look like that's going to happen. We should mention about 0% of the precincts are reporting at this hour. A lot of the numbers that, and let me just pop this up so you can see, a lot of the numbers that we're getting are from early voting, and it sounds like there were a lot more people who early voted than voted today. So you can see how different the numbers are at this hour. I do need to make a quick correction on the the Cott County Sheriff's race. We mentioned this earlier. Armando Fontes is not running again, and we can give you a look at who is running: C.J. Ball and Ellis Emmons. These are the results so far on this primary night. We did talk a little bit about some of the issues that have been going on within the Cott County Sheriff's Office in recent history, and so I just wanted to make sure that I made it clear that Sheriff Armando Fontes not running again. These are the 2 candidates tonight. Give me just one moment as we regroup here. We're going to move on to one of the other races that we're watching, but stand by. We've got some new information coming into the desk. All right, I believe that we have Will Puckett possibly standing by. He is down with Tom Spangler. So let's pop over there. Will, it sounds like you can hear me. You're nodding. We just heard a little bit of your interview with Sheriff Tom Spangler, the Republican Party essentially saying, okay, we're going to go ahead and call the race between him and J.J. Jones. They're calling it in favor of current Sheriff Tom Spangler. You seem pretty humble tonight based on what I heard in his interview with you. Made mention that their intention was not to sling mud throughout this election, but just kind of take the high road. What did you glean from that conversation?
Well, Amanda, one, he says he's exhausted, and that's something that we heard to him when we talked to him on Thursday ahead of today's election, is that he was tired both running this campaign and running the sheriff's department. But a lot of emotion flowing from the sheriff as he stood up there, backed by his family, flanked to the left by his wife, and just relatively emotional for an elected official, just, I think, showing how tired he was, how much in what I would say energy he put into this race. He was running against somebody that Knox County voters knew very well, had held the sheriff's position, somebody that he had worked under and with. And so it was really just an exhausted and, like you said, a humbled Tom Spangler here, and really just saying that he did this for the voters of Knox County. Is that one thing that he told us on Thursday, and he reiterated today, is that he was wanting to run a race where he didn't talk about the other person running against him. He wanted to keep it on what he wanted to do, what he's accomplished the past 4 years, and most importantly, the number one thing in his campaign is getting more pay for sheriff's deputies and individuals who work within the Knox County Sheriff's Department. And so if you really want to, like you said, sum up, it was emotional, exhausted, and I think saying a humble Tom Spangler is an appropriate term. Just extremely thankful that the voters of Knox County, at least the Republican voters who voted in this primary, have faith in the job that he's doing as sheriff of the county and believe that he deserves, by those credentials, another 4 years as the head law officer across the county.
And you have to wonder if J.J. Jones is just exhausted too. I mean, we've tried a couple different times to get him on the record in an interview, and he's just been playing sick the last couple of weeks. You even talked to him today, and he was still not feeling well. Didn't get out of bed except what? To go and vote today.
Yeah, he went and voted this morning, he told me, and then he got back home, wasn't feeling very well, and had intended, he said, to do an interview with us today, and then had to go home, had a fever, and just went and started to rest. And right now, if you look at the early returns, this is not a close race. Sheriff Spangler, when it came to just the early voting, had more than 70% of the early votes. And it was right after that announcement, we were actually, our photojournalist Caleb Heatherly and I were coming off of the elevator, and an individual said, "Are y'all here for the sheriff's race? Because Spanky won." And that's an endearing term that they give Sheriff Tom Spangler, is his nickname. You'll see people walking around here with hats that say spanked on them. It seems like almost everyone in this room, Amanda, had their minds made up, and it was Sheriff Tom Spangler that they wanted to send back to the city-county building for another 4 years. And it sounds like voters here in the county gave him that resounding, "You're doing a great job," continuing it, again, at least for Republican voters. Something that we have to note, that while the winner of this race will more likely than not be the next sheriff, there's not a Democrat running on the other side, so it would have to be write-in votes to supersede tonight's primary vote for Sheriff Tom Spangler. But yeah, Jones was very hard to get a hold of. I did text him today, and he did tell me, was in that conversation, that he said it's basically like taking a trial to jury. You've done all you can to present your case, and then you really just leave it up in the hands of the jury. And that jury in this instance, Amanda, was the voters of Knox County on the Republican ticket, and they said they believe Tom Spangler is the one they want leading the sheriff's department.
Yeah, not official until, of course, August, but more than likely this is our next sheriff, once again, for another term. All right, Will Puckett reporting for us tonight. We'll continue our live coverage with you at 10 o'clock on CW Knoxville and then at 11 on WVLT News. Will Puckett continuing to monitor that party and that celebration as we go into the night. Thank you so much, Will. And we're going to continue to monitor the other races. A lot of you are asking here on our Facebook Live about certain counties. The best way for you to see the updated information is to go into the WVLT News app. And I'm just going to pull it up here so you can see exactly what you're looking for. So that'll make it really easy. We have a tile. You open the app, and it is this little tile right there, and it says Election 2022. You open it and you can scroll down and see all of the different counties, races, and the results as they continue to come in. So we appreciate you joining us here. Monitor the WVLT News app for those results. We'll send big alerts straight to your phone through the app as well. Have a great night. We'll see you back here at 10 and 11 on WVLT News on the Air.